Hello there everybody and welcome back to Movie Squirm. Today I'm going to be reviewing the 2025 film I Know What You Did Last Summer, and this is directed by Jennifer Caitlin Robinson and stars Chase Suey Wonders and Madeline Klein. When five friends accidentally cause a car accident, they decide to keep it a secret. A year later their past catches up with them and someone is out for revenge. Now guys, I have watched the entire I Know What You Did Last Summer trilogy just before going into this one. And I gotta say, it's not the strongest horror trilogy out there. I think the first one's a really good movie with a cool story. The second one is so bad it's good. It's plagued with problems. And the third one is not a good movie at all, really. But I went into this one kind of thinking, this is just going to be an average slasher, probably. I mean, I'll probably go in not wanting a masterpiece, not needing a masterpiece, but maybe just having a fun time. And I've had a lot of flack for this movie. A lot of people giving it bad reviews and everything. And it is understandable where they're coming from, because this movie does have a few problems, which I'll get into when I get into the negatives later on in the review. But I gotta say, guys, I had a really fun time with this. Now, a big plus for this movie is the kills. I don't think they're the most creative kills out there. There's not any that are going to be too memorable. But when you compare it to the rest of the franchise, which is really bad, in my opinion, for the kills. I mean, a lot of them are off-screen. A lot of them are cut away. A lot of it is just blood being splattered against the wall. I think it steps it up here and probably has the best kills in the entire franchise when it comes to this movie. There's some real torturous moments as well where, you know, the fisherman doesn't really kill them straight away. I mean, he'll inflict a bit of pain, which in the other movies, it's just kind of one slice and dice and it's done. And that makes the fisherman himself feel a little bit more menacing in this movie. I think they feel like they give him much more of a dark presence here. It really does feel like this horrible, sinister character is coming for these characters in the movie. And I don't think the fisherman has been that much of a standout villain in the other movies. I mean, he's popular amongst horror fans, but he doesn't really come to people's heads when they think of horror villains. I mean, it's usually Ghostface, Freddy, Jason, Michael. But no one really ever thinks of the fisherman, do they? And I think this movie does a good attempt at trying to make him a bit more of a exciting and fun villain to be around, who is, you know, quite creepy at times and just has this menacing aura around him. And I really like how he toys with these characters a little bit more. In the other movies, we just see him sending notes saying, I know what you did last summer and stuff, and then he'll come after them. But here, he actually kills characters. And like for one instance, there's someone who gets killed, and then there's blood splattered on the wall saying, you can't escape your past and stuff. So this really puts the characters on edge even more. So it's not just notes that he's sending them here and there. He's actually showing them dead bodies. And, you know, that really just makes them realize that, you know, this guy isn't messing around and they are in big trouble. I really like how it explores the town of Southport in this one a little bit more as well. We've got this new mayor who's trying to basically clean up the town and pretend that no history here ever happened with these killings of the fishermen. I mean, it was 25 years ago, of course, but, you know, you can't even, like, find it on the internet and stuff because he's had it all deleted and everything, which is a bit far-fetched, I will admit. But there's a podcaster who's coming to this town who's got her own crime podcast and stuff. And, you know, she's exploring the ins and outs of Southport, and it just feels like it has a dark history there. Even though it's a bright, sparkling, sun-drenched town, you know, I like the way it explored the murderous history that it has. But I just really like how it's expanded on the location of this movie. I think lots of good horror movies do have to have good locations. Friday the 13th, you know, it's memorable for Camp Crystal Lake. You got Halloween with Haddonfield and stuff. And this isn't as good or will go down in history as much as those places, I don't think. Maybe when we get more sequels, which I don't know if they're planning, then maybe. But, you know, there's an attempt there. And it's even got a nickname for where the accident happened in the original movie. And spoiler alert, it is at the very start of the film. The accident even takes place in that same spot, but more on the familiarity of the original movie shortly. But yeah, I just like the way, you know, there was a genuine attempt there to make the town of Southport, you know, this hunting ground for the fishermen, if you like. I gotta say, guys, the bunch of characters in this movie were really fun to be around. I really liked the chemistry that they had together. They felt like they'd been friends for a very long time. They didn't just pick some randomers. Well, they did, but it didn't feel like they were randomers just reading off a script and then another person reads off a script. No, it actually felt like they melded together. It felt like they were all in this as one. And I just liked the back and forth between them all, really. But Madeline Stowe really stole the show, in my opinion, as this second in command of the main protagonist. I mean, the main protagonist here, Chase Sui Summers, she was okay, but I think Madeline Stowe was the real standout, and she's like this little, she seems like she comes off as this spoiled little rich kid at the start of the movie and stuff, and a lot of people would really hate that character. But as the movie goes on, I think she really grows into the role, and you just like her even more the more you're around her. At first, you're like, oh, I'm not going to stand this character, but by the end of the movie, you're like, yeah, she was really fun, I thought. And speaking of the back and forth between the characters, I gotta say that there was some real fun dialogue here, some real cheesy one-liners that will not work for everyone, I guarantee you, because they may come off as ultra cheesy and feel like they're just popping out of the 80s and stuff. But with them and a little comedic dialogue here and there, I thought it was actually quite funny at times, and it was just really fun to, hear these little things come out of characters' mouths. I mean, people in the cinema were laughing here and there. It does upset the tone a little bit because this movie feels like it's going for a very serious approach, but then these little comedic moments will come out of nowhere. But I actually really appreciated them. It just made the movie a lot more fun for me.
What are you waiting for?
I gotta say, guys, the ending really worked for me, and it is not going to work for everyone. This is going to be a very divisive ending, but I love what they did, and I can't get into it for spoiler reasons or anything, so I'm sorry about that. Maybe I'll do a spoiler review, but what they did, I thought it was the correct decision, and people may call me crazy for that, but I mean, like I said, I can't get into reasons why. Well, I'll speak about it another time. But the ending and what they did there, I thought that was a very brave approach. And I liked it. And I gotta say, guys, the post-credit scene was really fun. And I really shouldn't have liked this for reasons to do with a certain movie in this franchise. When I watched that, I was like, yeah, it just clicked. Bring on another I Know What You Did Last Summer film, please. Because I want to see that shit. Now, I just got to get into a little bit of a mixed opinion before getting onto the negatives, guys, because this is a little bit of both here, but I got to talk about the legacy characters in this film, because I liked a little bit what they did, and I didn't like a little bit of what they did with these characters. I mean, Jennifer Love Hewitt is in there as this guidance counselor, if you like. I mean, they do that with a lot of legacy sequels, don't they? I mean, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in 2022 had Sally Hardesty there, and Scream has Neve Campbell and Courtney Cox helping the younger people who are being stalked by Ghostface. So this was always going to happen, wasn't it? And I believe this is Jennifer Love Hewitt's first role in a horror movie since I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, because she didn't want to be typecast as a scream queen. But yeah, she was fine in the movie. I don't think she brings anything too much to it, but I liked her being there. And the same with Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character. It was kind of just like they were there to enhance the experience for the audience and give a little bit of fan service. I kind of liked it at times, and I didn't. But there's another decision there which I just really didn't think had to be there, and I can't get into that for spoilers. But like I said, it's a bit of a mixed bag there. I really need to do a spoiler review of this. It's so hard to talk about this movie without giving too much away. I'm getting on to the negatives, guys. I got to say that if you want anything new from this series, or you're expecting this film to reinvent the franchise, if you're a big guy, Still Know What You Did Last Summer fan, or I Know What You Did Last Summer fan, should I say, then you're not going to get it here. I mean, this is basically a retread of the original film. It follows a lot of the same story beats. The accident, like I said, even takes place in the same location, and it's a very similar accident. It's a car going over the cliff edge instead of someone being run over. It's a car accident. So I gotta say that was a little bit of a negative. I still enjoyed the story to a certain amount, but I think the original has a really strong story going for it anyway. So it's taking a strong story and just doing it again. And usually, if they do remakes like this, I am not all for it. I usually have, a real problem with that. And yeah, it is in my negatives, but I could sort of go along with it. I just wish they did something a lot more with the story here and just brought something new and fresh to it. They do in places, but it is very, very familiar to the original film. And there's a lot of odd decisions here as well. Like, certain characters will just do random things out of nowhere, and I'd be like, yeah, that was strange, and then they don't elaborate on it again. And I don't know if they were doing this for comedic moments or whatever, but it really did throw off some characters here and there with some of the decisions they make or some of the dialogue that they give them. Like I said, a lot of the dialogue was fun, and sometimes I was just scratching my head going, that really just come out of that person's mouth? I'm going to say, guys, the pacing here was a little bit off. I was still having a lot of fun with this movie, but it was nearly 2 hours long, this film, and the others are 90 minutes, and you do feel it in moments. I mean, I could think of 2 scenes straight after the movie that could just be cut from this film, and it would have saved about 5 minutes. But there's even more. I mean, there's a real slow build-up to get to know these characters before the actual accident happens. But what the original movie really does well is we find out all these characters' personalities when they are debating what to do in the situation when they run that guy over. But here, it tries to make a little bit of build-up before the accident and get to know the characters a little bit more, whereas you could have went by doing that in a hell of a lot different ways. I mean, it doesn't really even feel like you know them that well, until about halfway, 3/4 into the movie. But the movie really attempts it from the start. So, yeah, I just think there was a lot of scenes that just could have been cut there, really. I gotta say, guys, the reveal here was quite obvious for me. I don't want to speak about it too much. I can't give anything away, but I am very poor when it comes to guessing the killers in these whodunit movies. But yeah, I seen it about 10 minutes in there. So yeah, for me, that was a bit of a letdown because I really like it when I'm wrong and I get that surprise. But here, when it was all revealed, I was like, yeah, I knew this person was just gonna take this fisherman's hood off, basically. However, guys, despite some negatives there, I still had a lot of fun with this movie, and it's probably the second best, if not the best, in the franchise, believe it or not. It's not the strongest franchise in the world, but I'm glad this legacy sequel exists, and I would definitely watch it again. Okay, guys, I'm just going to go ahead and rate this movie now. I'm going to give I Know What You Did Last Summer a 7 out of 10. Not a bad score at all, and just a really fun time at the cinema with a movie that just doesn't take itself all that too seriously. Okay, guys, at the end of these reviews, I always like to leave a little fun fact. Now, a fun fact that I Know What You Did Last Summer is that Julie, Jennifer Love Hewitt's character, is actually living in a house where Buffy Summers from Buffy the Vampire Slayer had her house. It's basically the same house as that character in that TV show. Okay, guys, hope you all enjoyed this review. If you want more 2025 horror movie reviews, I'll leave it in the link down below, along with my I Know What You Did Last Summer review playlist. I've only reviewed the first 2 movies and this one. I didn't do the third, but if you want to check them out, they'll be down below. Please give this video a like and subscribe to this channel if horror is your sort of thing. Thanks so much, guys. You take care, and I'll see you all in the next video.